Welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders. I'm pleased to have on with me Marissa Morris, who's the head coach of the Ledyard softball team, and she also was a former NVL player as well back in the day with now the Torrington Raiders. I don't know if they were the Torrington Red Raiders when you were there. Now they're just the Torrington Raiders. But
Yep.
hey, appreciate you being able to come on. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
When I think about, and you and I were just kind of, talking a little bit about how the NVL when it comes to softball, because baseball is a whole nother dynamic, but softball, they've had what seems like a run with teams for the course of 15, 20, 30 years, going back to the Seymour dominance. Obviously, Woodland's having a nice run. They've three-peated. I'm pretty sure it's a three-peat now, trying to go for four. Obviously, Oxford, they're kind of new because their school was opened up, I think, what, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, kind of
Mhm.
separated from Seymour, but still they're able to produce and have a lot of talented softball teams. So, and you had an opportunity to play for Torrington. How was it playing against other Valley teams? And also, too, Holy Cross was pretty good back in
Yeah.
the day as
Yep.
well.
Yeah. The NVL, obviously, that's my roots. That's where I grew up. Torrington, I'm a proud alum of Torrington High School. So, yeah, I was very fortunate when I played, and I know we were talking about this when I played for Torrington High School under Marion Musselman. I was so fortunate enough to have two Division I pitchers that I got to have the opportunity to catch for. I was a 4-year varsity starter as a catcher. I called pitches from my freshman year to my senior year, which is pretty atypical, but Coach Musselman, I guess, saw something in me and I was able to call pitches, and that really did help my softball IQ overall and like my development as a player. But I got to catch for Sydney Matsko, who ended up was committed and went to UNC, Tar Heels. And then after she graduated, we had Allie Dubois coming up, who was a BU commit, went to BU for most of her career, and then she ended up transferring to Florida State later in her career, and she pitched in the College World Series recently. So I feel like that was a pretty atypical experience, like for like a high school catcher. But yeah, the other like NVL, like I had one of my former teammates, Ryan Geffer at Seymour. Naugatuck was always solid. Woodland was always tough. The NVL in the era that I was there and still to this day is always super competitive. Sometimes I go back and I go home and I watch some games. So yeah, it's a really special place in the valley. So I'm always it has a soft spot in my heart for sure.
You know what's funny is I've really been getting into watching because I started broadcasting softball many, many years ago. So maybe like 5, 6 years ago. So I've been really watching a lot of the games since I started doing them. And it's funny because I was watching the College World Series for softball and
Mhm.
I saw Allie pitch. I didn't
Yeah,
even think about it.
yeah, yep.
Like I didn't even, and they didn't even mention, oh yeah, she's from Torrington, Connecticut. They didn't even mention that.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Wow.
I believe I'm not gonna speak for her, but I believe she redshirted when she transferred from BU and then when she went
Mhm.
to Florida State. But yeah, she got to pitch in the World Series, and yeah, they I think they had the little like Torrington and Connecticut
I
like thing
must
in
have missed it.
bio when they like do like they're talking about them, but she was killing it. She has a nasty changeup. So, and they were really utilizing her when she was pitching. So, but yeah, it's cool to see someone you know on TV, especially from your hometown who you got to play with, and
Yep. Yep.
just repping the NVL, repping Torrington High School.
Well, it's funny because so I'm probably dating back to maybe some people before you even knew their names. Maybe you know who they are, but like you think about Jordan Williams for basketball was drafted by the Nets. You think about Connor Bierfeld, who had a
Hmm.
pretty nice career, was drafted by the O's. I know it was pretty short, but again, still very talented. He was a
Hmm.
fantastic player as well. And I always ask, I know some of the coaches. I know Gaitan for football. I know what Gamari does for the boys basketball team. The girls basketball coach, whose name is escaping me, does a fantastic job too. There's something about Torrington. I know the school is big, but I feel like,
Yeah, and a brand new high school, brand.
and yes, they have a brand new high school, which last time I was there, it was still getting built. So I've heard
Mm,
it looks amazing. But the
mm,
point I'm trying to make is that I don't know if it's because the school is way up Yonderville, so it's kind of on the outside of the quote unquote NVL, but
mm,
I feel like there's A lot of talent,
mm,
B, the kids are huge. And I
mm.
mean huge, like they're big, they're strong, they look like they work on farms. Like why doesn't Torrington really get talked about that much in the state?
Yeah, that's a great question. You mean like all sports too?
Yeah, I mean
I know
softball,
typically,
yeah.
so like when my experience growing up in Torrington, it's a very athletic town.
Hmm.
Um, I so they big into basketball, which is probably evident with the basketball program that I believe Coach Fritsch ran for many
Yes.
years. And it was always very competitive. And then also soccer. Soccer is a big one, and swimming. So the swim team's always been pretty dominant at the high school. And softball as well was always pretty competitive. It's a pretty strong rec program. I haven't been following, obviously. I've been away from my hometown for a little bit now, but I don't, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's in the water. I think like it's part of
Hmm.
like that scrappiness. There's no farms that I know. But it is definitely like a town that is really into athletics and also a proud like music program. So they're really big into extracurricular activities beyond just like the academics. So yeah.
Well, I know they have the theater on Water Street in Torrington, and I know they
Yep.
use that for the
Yep.
graduation. I don't know if they use it for anything else. I'm sure they do, but I mean, it's one of those things where I think there needs to be a book written about Torrington sports just on. I mean, I saw what they did when they closed the gym down because they were redoing the school, and like you mentioned, they were building it and all that,
Mhm.
and just the history of the school.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was amazing for
So
that.
when they closed the school,
Mhm.
the old high school, they did an alumni event, and I did go. I
Oh,
spent the day,
nice.
I went with a couple of my friends from high school. We got to walk through the building for the last time because they were gonna knock it down, and we walked through all the halls, all the stairs. They were giving away jerseys. I was trying to
Cool.
find my old softball jersey. They were giving away like basketball jerseys, like the warm-ups, like windbreakers, because like they had to get rid of all the stuff because
Yeah.
they're moving into the new building. And but it was just so weird like walking through the buildings. I feel like in a way I never left it, but it was like super nostalgic at the same time. But yeah, it is a super special place. They had the yearbook, so you're looking at like all the decades and the history of the sports, and obviously sports are a huge part of Torrington. So they had like all this stuff, like just like all the awards, the trophies, just every it was really cool. I wish like a reporter they probably did, I don't know. But it was really like to talk about the history of sports or just a school in general. My grandmother went there, my mother went there, and I went there. So three generations of my family went to Torrington High School. So yeah, absolutely. It's a big history town, yeah.
So where'd your dad go? Did he go to like Litchfield or something?
No, so my dad's from Winston. So he played
Oh,
baseball in Winston, and he's the one who got me into softball. He was really talented baseball player. He was like getting drafted out of high school. He ended up not going through with it. It was a sad story, but his dad ended up passing away. So he's like left the game, but he was looking to go to play at the next level when he was in high school. So I kind of got that passed down to me in a way. So
that's legit. I mean,
Fun.
that story about what happened and such. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, kind of come full circle there. And that's, that kind of segues into my next question for you. As far as from the coaching aspect, I mean, just looking at what you have been a part of the last couple of years, I didn't even realize that you were at Westfield State after Rockville. So you went from coaching high school to going to Division 3 because Westfield's in Mass, if I recall, right?
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
you went from that to then now the ledger position. So you've
Yeah.
been able to be in multiple spots and then you came back to the high school level. What
Yeah.
made you want to come back?
Yeah, so I loved what my time at Westfield.
Mhm.
The coach Joe Huff, he is amazing. The whole coaching staff there is amazing. That he really, I don't say turned the program around, but he really got that program on the map in their conference. And the opportunity came up on social media. I saw them posting for an assistant coach, so I reached out. I was a little ambitious. I had like just had a baby, but like I just like have the coaching itch, like so. And coaching college was always an ambition or a dream of mine. I did play at the next level, so I wanted to get just get my toes wet in it and see what it was about, right? And I loved my time there. The team was great, the team culture amazing, the competitiveness at the Division 3 level, but also balancing. Some kids got to play another sport. Like there was multiple kids that played volleyball and softball, or basketball and softball, and they were exceptional athletes. There's really a nice at the Division 3 level, competitive nature of the team sports teams, but also they can balance academics nicely with all different types of majors, and they can also play maybe another NCAA Division 3 sport. And so that was really cool to be a part of, and so in that season we were really successful, and the only reason I didn't go back was because I live in Rocky Hill, and then I work for the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation. I'm their special education advocate. I proudly serve that community. And so basically, I was just driving all over the place. So from the casino to Massachusetts. So the only reason I wasn't able to really make it work was because I have two young babies and like with the commute with my job. But I wish that, I could continue there. But then, with the job as working in for the tribe, Mashantucket is where the reservation is located, where Foxwoods Resort and Casino is located. And so that's within the town of Ledyard. I saw that the position, I wasn't even looking for the position, and it just happened to open up. So I applied for it, and here I am today. So
So your car must really hate you. The amount of driving.
maybe I have a lot of miles on my car. That's
You
for
must
sure.
get an oil change every like month with the amount of driving, at least back then. Now it's not as bad, but
Yeah,
that's
back
a
then it
lot.
was last year was that was tough. With the
Yeah.
Mass, and then the Ledyard and Mashantucket, that was a lot of driving, but well worth it to get the experience,
Yeah.
and just the relationships and the networking that you get through coaching and working with players and other people in the field.
Mhm.
It's just amazing. So, but yeah.
How did you like I gotta ask, how did you manage all that? Because like you have a family, you have your kids, you have your fiance, you've got your job, and you got the soft like I can tell you right now, I could never do that. I give kudos to my wife for her being able to manage everything that she does with the school side, and then she's got her second job, and then she's got myself, we have her dog, and then the stuff that happens beyond just like the life
Yeah.
stuff. How did
Yeah.
you balance all of that?
Yeah, that is a great question. There's a few people that I must shout out, and number one is my mom. So, when I had my first baby, Savannah, in 2023, she moved in with us to help take care of her. She supports our coaching because my fiance and I coach travel together. We coach for the Connecticut Titans. So we coach 12U. And so she helps take care of them both of them, because there is two now, because I had another baby, little Charlotte, in the same month in 2024. So we have like two little ones. So we have a 9 month old and a 20 month old. But yeah, so my mom is amazing. So she helps out every day. And then we also have people on our travel softball team. They like love taking care of the kids. So my mom drives to Torrington to work, and then so one of our parents like helps take care of Charlotte. So, and they don't have to, they just are just amazing. And so I'm very grateful that there's so many people in our corner that like support our work as coaches. But yeah, the main one definitely is my mom. And then we do have a really great babysitter and nanny that does also help. So we have a lot of support. But just manage, and my job is also very flexible. They did allow me graciously to, leave work early. I shift my hours, right? I shift my hours a little earlier because I'm a salary employee, but I am working all the time to support the community with what they need in my position. So I shift my hours, but my job does allow me to leave a little earlier in the day to do coaching for Ledyard High School. So I'm really grateful for that as well. So it's like a little bit of like help in a lot of different areas. So I'm really grateful to be able to do it. I am tired a lot of the
Yeah.
time, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. What am I doing? But the impact, and just I love the game. The game gave me so many opportunities. And then I also get to impact players on and off the field. So there's no greater reward than that, I think. So
Have you noticed anything to take it now to the softball side? I'm watching the clubhouse and they're doing a thing about the Red Sox. It's on Netflix. I'm on
Yeah.
episode 3 right now.
Okay.
And, if you have a chance, I don't know if you're a baseball, I don't know if your fiance's a baseball guy, you got to watch it. It's a great, I'm 3 episodes in
We're
and
a
I can watch
divided
everything.
household. I was born and raised a Red Sox fan, and he is a diehard Yankee fan to the point where he won't even put our children in a Red Sox apparel. So we're a divided house. But yeah.
I'm on his side. I hate the Red Sox. Sorry, my bad. I don't
It's all
like
right.
them. I can't even watch them because
Don't be
cable doesn't
friends.
like Nesson. I can't even watch the Red Sox even if I want to.
Yeah,
So.
if something's on our if it's not ESPN or the Pat McAfee show, it's the Yankee Network. So, you know.
That's a beautiful thing. I like his taste of channels. Good for
Yeah.
him and shows. But anywho, back to
It's
the
actually a
point.
funny story, like with Pat
Uh,
McAfee, real quick, is we watch that every day to the point where when our daughters see it, our older one like claps and says yay, and he calls him Uncle Pat. It's hilarious. I need to like catch it on video and like send it to the show.
you need to because Pat will put that up,
Yes. Yeah.
especially too because of your child, and he'll be like, "Wow, this is amazing. This is so cute." He'll put it up there. It'll be awesome.
Let's hopefully, yeah.
That'd be really cool. But anywho, so what I was trying to be able to get back to the point was that, there's been a lot of insight when it comes to those players. And one of them in particular, the first baseman, Tristan Casas, if I'm saying his last name right, the way that he looks at the game, he talks about how the reason why baseball is 162 games instead of
Mhm.
140 is because the 22 games and the way he dissected it made more sense the way I could, regurgitate it. But the point is just like looking at it from his perspective, you see things differently. For you, over the last couple years, or maybe it could be a year to year thing, have you
Mhm.
seen the game of softball evolve? Because baseball's evolved in a short amount of time. Has softball?
Mhm. Yeah, I absolutely. And I like to just say, but I am a young coach. I have a great resume and experience as a player. I'm young in my coaching career and I love to learn. You're never done learning. Even 20 years from now, when and if I'm still coaching, wherever that is, hopefully in Ledyard. But again, if I'm still coaching, you're never done learning. Like I go to the Mohegan Sun softball conference every year. And I love to pick up from other players and other coaches. I pick up something every tournament that I coach in every game. I like to try to pick something up because a different way to word the game. But yeah, I've seen the game evolve. I think in the last like I think in the last like 2 years, really. So the biggest two things I've really seen is, especially on the, catching is my position and my niche and probably my favorite part of the game. The knee down approach, maybe not in the last couple of years, but that baseball knee down approach with receiving and framing, or the dropping of the glove, relaxing the hand, and then coming up through the zone to frame. That's really transferring over into softball. And then also pitching. So now the leaping is legal, really hot topic. But that, some people say it gives too much of an advantage, and then it gets confused with crow hopping, the replanting versus not replanting. But at the end of the day, it's now legal. So I think those two things are the things I've seen the most. And also, especially in high school, I've seen a lot more slappers, which I do like to see. I like to see the triple threats out there, the speed demons. But yeah, I definitely say pitching, catching mostly. But I know the game's going to continue to evolve as well. So,
Do you feel like to coach that, and I know, and I don't remember how long it's been, but they moved the circle back because it was so close at one point where it was kind of like in baseball where
mhm,
they lower the mound, raise the mound because obviously there were so many strikeouts, the dead ball era, right? So
mhm.
do you feel like there could be potential of something maybe not moving the circle back more, but maybe other instances to kind of evolve the game more in a way?
Yeah, I think it could be that. I mean, with the leaping, people get pretty they drive off pretty far, but the reason why it became legal is because it was ruled that there wasn't like too much of like an advantage, like it wasn't giving too much of like an extra miles per hour or what have you. So, and that's like the rationale. I didn't like read the whole thing or hear the whole thing. I'm not definitely not the expert in like the
Mhm.
leaping versus the not leaping, but that's like the hit like kind of the why it became legal. But I think it maybe possibly it could become not legal anymore. That's why some people are trying it now, like that style of pitching, but some people are very against it or not sure because they're not sure if the rule might change because rules can always change, the
Mhm.
game can always change. Um, so I'm not, yeah, it very well could happen for sure. Yeah.
Coach, before I let you go really quick, as far as the program itself, you guys played a game already, and I
Yeah.
think you did suffer a loss, if I recall. So,
Yes.
hey, they play 20 games for a reason. You play a lot of games to be able to, one game doesn't define the program or the
Yeah.
team means. So, what are
Yeah.
we looking at for the rest of the 19 games, weather permitting, because Mother Nature likes to screw things up a little bit?
Oh my God, we had the most beautiful preseason and tryouts. Like we were outside, it was like 75 degrees, and now yesterday it was 42, felt like 22 according to my weather app, and that was the coldest game I've ever coached, and it was windy. If you've ever been to the Ledyard softball field, it is on a hill and it is windy, windy, kind of like St. Paul. Throwing it back to the
Hmm.
NVL, it's
Yeah.
up on the hill at the school, so it's a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, we did suffer our first loss to Fitch, 4-3. So that was a game of little things. We were a very evenly matched team. They're a well-coached team. And we did have 9 hits. They had 8 hits. We each team both had 2 errors. And it came down to a couple things. Their center fielder, I don't know her name, but off the top of my head, but she was exceptional. She threw our two fastest runners out at the plate, with a bang bang play. So that could have been the game right there. There was we allowed a pass ball. And then we also had a runner not tag on a deep fly ball to right center. So just kind of like working those kinks out the first game. We were supposed to play Waterford our first game, but it got rescheduled a couple times. And they're a exceptional program historically and presently as well. So we our first 2 games were going to be one of our toughest games regardless. But I'd rather learn those lessons early
Mhm.
and then learn from them, and then so that we're prepared for when it really matters at the end of the season, and throughout our season. So, would I've liked to come out with the win? Yes, I'm super competitive, but this team is really exceptional. They're hungry. They're a young group. We have mostly sophomores. We only have 2 seniors, a handful of juniors, but we're mostly loaded with a sophomore class. And they're hungry and they're super coachable and they love to learn and they're just super enthusiastic every time they come to practice. I've been coaching again since like 2020, 2021. I've never had so many kids asked to stay for extra reps after a 2-hour practice. Every day there's at least 5 kids on JV and varsity, but there's a mix from our program that they asked to stay to hit extra, get extra ground ball reps. They asked for feedback on what they can work on. I've never seen anything like that. They're so passionate, and I think that's what's going to take us far, is that hunger to compete. So
And being able to kind of thrive on that and continue to grow and such could maybe lessen the learning curve with a
yeah.
lot of those young players too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
and they're learning how to step into those roles. Like they played as freshmen, and now they're got 1 year under their belt, for most of them. And we do have that like upperclassmen senior leadership as well.
Mhm.
So we do have that, but we do have a lot of players, the key players, that are sophomores. We have a really, really great freshman I'm super excited about. Her name's Julia Bonser. She's almost 5'11. If I had to guess, she's big kid, she's strong. She's playing third base right now. I don't know if that's where she's gonna stay, but she's gonna be a player to watch for sure. And obviously we have Alexia Lemon in the circle. And so we're pretty stacked, as our athletic director likes to say. But we are. So we have a lot of talent to work with, and I think that the talent is the base. The team culture is most important because without team culture, you don't have anything. And then it's that drive to succeed. So,
And the ECC is very, very good when it comes to softball. There's a lot of very good
Yeah,
teams. Waterford's been, I want to say cream of the crop, but they've been one of the top echelon teams, like
yeah.
1A, 1B. What Coach Walker does there, he does a fantastic job. A couple
Mm-hmm.
years ago, we had Matty Burrows, who is
Yep,
at Villanova with Cat Gallant as
yep,
well.
yep,
And fun fact, I don't know if you know this, his brother, pitching coach with the Blue Jays.
yep.
So you think about
That's
that and
awesome.
kind of brings that to the softball side and just
Yeah.
adds another element too. So,
Yeah, we've historically been strong as well. With the pat like since like 2021, I believe they were 20-7 with Brittany Robinson as the head
wow.
coach, and then they had Steve Smith that he was 2022 17-7, and then the last 2 years he was 11-11. So typically some historically strong, but I'm super excited to really. I mean, I already have my hands on the team, but to see what this team can do, um, they are awesome. One of the best groups I've ever had the pleasure to coach. Not just what talent wise, but
Mhm.
because of the people that they are. All super serious into academics and just like we were practicing today, and the JV team was playing on our varsity field because our JV field isn't quite ready yet. And like a first pitch, one of our players hit a home run over the fence, and everyone stops what they're doing and they're like screaming and they're cheering at the fence, and it's just awesome to see like that like program support and
Mhm.
that's kind of where what I when I came into the program really emphasizing that one program mentality to build the program for years to come, but also to strengthen what we have right now, you know.
Coach, best of luck as far as with the season, the 19 games, and hopefully many more after that with the ECC tournament for the
Mhm.
conference tournament and also the state tournament if you guys are able to qualify and enjoy it. Should be a lot of fun with you guys this year.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity. So
Always. I wrap things up here in the CT Sports Talent Show. Next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. Enjoy, find them all. Go your day, everybody, and be well.